Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Feeling and Healing Podcast. This is Danielle Z with you, MFT in the making, motivator, and mental health maven. And today I am so happy to have Brittany and Kara joining me. They have this wonderful holistic approach to just medicine and just really empowering as other fellow women entrepreneurs. So I'll let you guys both introduce yourselves and kind of tell the audience what you guys both do, kind of at your with your wellness center.
Okay. Well, I'll go first.
Sure.
My name is Brittany Hayden. I am a nurse practitioner and functional medicine strategist. And my own health journey obviously brought me to this point, but I have been in healthcare for now 25 plus years. So I've just been immersed in health and wellness my entire life. And um, our own journeys kind of direct our paths. And I have found that not only is there a physical component to health, there is also a very spiritual aspect to it. And Kara and I have known each other since we were 5. Um,
Love that.
we were little twins on the playground, and um, she'll talk about her experience as well. But we really decided that the body and the soul connection were essential to ultimate healing and restoration. And so our collaboration is that combination, that science and the soul. And it's just this beautiful evolution of where we can take women.
I love it.
Yeah, and I would just add to that, like Brittany said, we have been best friends since kindergarten, and I have chills. It's like we've dreamed of working together for our whole lives. We've done life together, through
Mhm.
the health challenges, through, the emotional, spiritual, stretching and growing that is life. And we've been in each other's corners. And so to be able to also, put together that relationship that we share so deeply and personally and extend that into a sisterhood where we're inviting others in, like women who know I am made for more. Like I've been
Yes.
filling all these roles. There's a lot of expectations. There's a lot of obligations. I'm very distracted. There's a million things I have to do every day. But man, there's so much more in me. Like this is the journey that both Brittany and I have been on, and that deep knowing in our souls that there's so much more, and the desire for us to stand in our lights and be a beacon and create a space of safety and acceptance and love where women can come together and not only physically heal their bodies.
Hmm.
Because if you're physically unwell, it's very hard to be in the soul journey.
Absolutely. Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
you have to recognize that as part of it.
Yes, but also emotionally and soulfully engage in the truth of our beings. Because on the flip side, without that emotional healing and soulful alignment, you can't actually physically heal your body. So it's this circle, it's this reciprocal, like, well, you got to have one to have the other, you have to have the other to have the other one, which is why Brittany and I were
It's
like,
like it's a symbiotic
It
relationship
is. It's
that,
exactly. It's a
yes,
relationship. Yeah.
yes.
yeah. And so it just only made sense. Like, click, click, click. All of a sudden, we're like, oh my gosh, this is like our dreams are literally,
Coming true.
the dreams of our
Yeah.
life are coming
Yes.
true and creating this space for women. And I think for us in the liberations that we've both experienced, both in our physical health journeys, but
Hmm.
also in our soul journeys and in our
Hmm.
emotional healing, we both have been through it and have stood by one another, and like I said, in both of those aspects. So the thought for us to be able to come in and bring other women into that level of healing physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, all of those
Hmm.
things, because when each one of us is in our power in all of those ways, the world is automatically becoming a better place just by our
Yes.
being.
Yes, by
Yes.
your energy.
Yeah.
Like, it was
Your
so funny.
your
I literally,
essence.
yeah,
Yes.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Brittany. Yeah, your presence and your essence,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah, I was literally just talking to somebody like half an hour before we got on this episode about that, about how important it is. It is. It's not only, I love that you brought in the soul, because I always say the physiological, right? Like mind, body, but then there is that soul, spirit, that, as you said, that knowing. And I share a very similar sentiment that you guys have. Like, I'm like, and I'm so lucky that, and I help my clients do, and other women, men too, find this thing, like, really find what lights you up and that purpose. Because once you find that, life just gets easier. And I'm not saying that every day is like, a ray of sunshine. But when you have that deep, deep, soulful calling, like I always say to people, like everybody's like, I love how driven you are. And I'm like, and not to sound snobby, but I'm like, this is more than drive. Like, this is my calling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a supernatural driving
Mm-hmm.
force. And if you don't have that, you can waver. And I have known, Kara has known, I mean, you've mentioned you have that same feeling inside. And it's what keeps you going when life is so freaking hard that
Yep.
you don't want to climb out of bed. Like
Mm-hmm.
you either physically are so sick. Kara and I have been to the point that we have been so sick that we were nearly incapacitated, lying in bed, unable to essentially care for ourselves. And
Mhm.
yet you know that your purpose is far greater. And you're like, how the heck am I ever going to get there?
Yeah. And
How?
I think too, like the way we talk about purpose, it's like we talk about it like it's this thing out here that we're chasing. And I think true purpose is literally just alignment to the truth of who we are. So when you're
Yes.
in alignment to that part of your being, your soul,
Mm-hmm.
your depth, your frequency that you carry, you cannot help but be in synchronicity with the things that are for you to do while you're in a body on the planet.
Mhm.
So there's this, it's not about chasing the things that make you feel like you're on purpose. It's about aligning to the truth of who you are. And then the things that are purposeful for you while you're here living this life appear because
Yep.
you're going to
It's an
attract those
alignment.
things and people in your life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had read that. I mean, I've known that, but earlier today I read something very similar to those exact words. And being a very high achieving woman, always having goals, always trying to
Mhm.
people please and be the next best Brittany. Like I've always been chasing something.
Mhm.
And to just be okay, just being me, trying to
Mhm.
figure out who I am right now, that's the ultimate purpose, to be okay with who you were created to be in the moment, in the
Mhm.
now, and watch yourself evolve.
Mhm.
I mean, you are okay who you are right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
And
you're
that acceptance
worthy.
is huge.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I would say, Brittany, similar to you, I've chosen a career and a path that I will never stop learning. I will never stop becoming different versions of myself. I like to use the metaphor of like, you're a book and you have different chapters, but you're right. It is important to stop and recognize and acknowledge where you are right now, and have those check-ins with yourself, and being like, okay, like, I love parts work as a therapist, but like,
Yes, ma'am.
I love me some internal family systems.
Too.
I love it. So, but just going back, and I say that going back to your core, because your core is that foundational thing that won't, will never, you can, yeah, you can change it, but for the most part, your core self is your truest authentic self. And when you're really in your light, that is what shines. And I think we all can agree that while, because similar to you guys, I've had health issues, also healing issues, of course, grief, everything in between. But when you get to that point in your journey, the feeling that you have, I think that all three of us maybe share. I say, it's gonna sound silly and forgive me. I'm like, it's a high you can't buy. Like it's
Mhm.
like no thing, the external thing is gonna ever bring the feeling that I have waking up every day and knowing that I'm living my life intentionally.
Yeah, I love that. Intention is one of my great values. And, you know, I think also it's important to honor and recognize that there's not a point on the map that we're trying to achieve. It's not like we
Yeah.
get to that place and we're like, oh, I've
Oh, we've
arrived at this
arrived.
place.
Yeah,
Because
like I
that's
have no more work to do.
right. That's another false bill of goods that we're sold in our culture where, I can't tell you how many clients I have that'll be like, God, I thought I worked through it. I totally thought I had mastered this. Or, the idea is, well, we're practicing our whole lives. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I definitely, was like, okay, well, I'll figure this out. And I
Yeah,
am now in my 40s and I'm like, oh, I'm very clear now. It's not about figuring it out. It's about living in that alignment, that high that you're talking about,
yeah.
that intention, but also knowing, just a week ago, I needed to call my best friend who also has to be my best business bestie,
Love it. I
Brittany,
love it.
because I I was going through deep transformation. And I'm not going through that every day, but there are days when, I'm having like an upgrade that is shifting everything I know about how I'm doing
Mm,
things. And it's enlightening things that I thought I knew, and they're illuminating even more. This is what life is. It's not about achieving some certain level. It's about the journey. It's about who we're being, and it's being so easy on ourselves and so compassionate and graceful when
yeah.
we are having a bad stretch, whether that's a day or a week or a year or multiple years, a season, and we're just not quite feeling like ourselves. It's being able to recognize, like, gosh, I need some support because I'm just clunky, and I
Mm.
need to find the kind of support that's going to bring me back into that alignment. Again, that alignment is not something you achieve once and then, oh, it's like,
Wouldn't
no,
that be nice?
Oh God,
oh,
if
it would
only
be
if we're
so
that
great.
easy, right? Oh,
I mean, maybe when we're not in our bodies, like maybe that's what it
Maybe.
feels like to just be a soul floating around. I don't know.
perhaps. I don't know.
But I think like we talked about it when you were having that day that you needed support. We have been so used to handling everything on our own. And even
Hmm.
as best friends and knowing that we have gone through some terribly difficult times, we still think that we have to carry it all alone. And yet, if we would just pick up the phone, if we would be vulnerable and say, "Hey, I'm going through this and I need someone to hold me. I need someone to
Yeah.
help me walk through
Help
this."
me carry. Yeah.
Eh, You know, that type of vulnerability and letting your guard down is not familiar
Mhm.
to the high achieving woman
Yes.
because you're
Yeah.
used to carrying all the things all yourself and
Yeah.
being very good at it,
Yeah. It's
I
like
mean,
and
yeah, sorry, Kara,
it
go ahead.
doesn't always serve us.
the expectation. It's hard with three people. I'm like,
Yeah.
it is like we're,
All good.
we're here to leave space for one another, but we make that happen.
But we're very eager people. We're all high achievers.
But there's that now, and now because of that, I've lost the train of what I was going to
You
say.
were saying, oh geez, let's see here. Brittany was talking about
Carrying everything on
carrying
our own.
everything, then maybe the different roles we have as women, and
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
we feel like we can't reach out for help. Maybe with
Yeah.
does that?
Yes.
Yeah,
And so I'll just go in the direction that's in my mind right now, whether or not it was what I was going to say.
perfect.
It's like in that, when you're carrying everything and you have, again, the culture has taught us, you need to be the boss babe. You need to be a fantastic mom who is raising the
Hmm.
best humans. You need
Mhm.
to, if you're in a partnership, you need to be a great partner, and here's how you show up. And if you're not in a partnership, here's what you need to do to be a good dater, to not be
Yep.
too much, to not be
Yeah. Yep.
like, oh, and hold this in and hold this. I mean, it is a lot. And then you need to look really good in a bikini, and there's all these rules for
It's
what makes
never
you
ending.
acceptable,
Oh,
lovable. And it's like, I call BS. The essence of your value is because you were born. You can
I
do
love that.
nothing to add or detract from that essence. Now, when you're in alignment with that and you know that that's your value, again, Brittany and I were sharing a conversation recently about the way that, all those carrying it by yourself and all those expectations and that programming to make sure everybody's happy and like, what do you need from me? What do you need from me? What do you need from me? How do I need to show up from you? People pleasing, we could narrow that down
Mhm.
to.
yeah.
It can cause you to put on masks
Yes.
and be who someone needs you to be. Like in this professional setting, I show up like this. With my partner, I show up like this. On a date, I show up like this. With my kid, I show up and then it's like, wait, who am I?
Yeah. You get
Mhm.
lost.
You get
You keep-
And
lost.
that's
yeah.
exhausting.
It is
I mean, like
exhausting.
having to, and I think, you hit a really great point. And I think it's a development thing that we were just kind of talking about prior to the podcast, the recording. Um, I'm taking a human development across the lifespan class right now for my marriage and family therapy degree. And it goes, they say it in the book that women's development is not linear. We continue to
Mm,
add. Like it's like, and then you said the expectations, and it is shifting. I think we all feel the shift, and I'm happy for the shift, but when you're paving a new path too, there's nothing to measure it by. So it's like we're trying to do all the things, and I struggle with this too. And I think Brittany, we mentioned, or I think we were talking maybe on our first call about, or maybe over social media. I forget because I comment. I spread the love everywhere.
you
But
do.
like our high achieving is like a trauma response, and even our people pleasing is a trauma response.
Mhm.
If you really break it
It's
down.
yeah, seeking something, it's seeking love, acceptance that you did not feel
Mhm.
at
Hmm.
a very young age. And we probably we weren't even cognitively aware
Mm-mm.
Exactly.
of what we
Well,
were doing or needing.
right. We thought in order to be loved, I need to be this for you. And
Yeah.
that might have even been different for mom and dad. Like what you needed to
Hmm.
be or felt you needed to be, what you needed to be here. Like if it was getting straight A's, or if it was looking cute, or if it was being skinny. Again, we grew up in the 1990s. So being skinny was a huge, like, that was like
Had to
a
be supermodel
goal,
skinny.
like
Yep.
supermodel skinny. Now, and what
Like
supermodels look like,
Twiggy, yeah.
yeah, like there's a certain
Mhm.
like level at which like if you're not this, you're not lovable. And
Yeah.
And I
and
was
it
that tiny and I still wasn't lovable.
yes. And so it can be like, even behaving. Shh, be
Hmm.
quiet, don't make
Mhm.
waves, like again, you become like hyper vigilant at reading what does a person need from me in order for me to be loved and accepted, and then I'm going to be that. So you learned that,
Those
and
conditioning.
you're
Yes.
showing up in that way, and in reality you're never feeling loved or accepted because it's impossible to keep people pleased.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not only is it exhausting, but it's impossible.
Yep.
And so I think that that's part of the work that Brittany and I do. Again, coming back to that, Brittany really works with women to get their labs, like labs that are beyond,
Just the
Just
panel that you
beyond
get.
basics.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So you're physically well, and I'm not going to
Mhm.
try to explain that. I would let her talk about that. But, it's also like we create this space of you're loved and accepted for being you, and we can't wait to know you. And you're only going to find acceptance and safety because the body
Yes.
can't heal outside of safety.
Agreed. Yeah.
The body, we can run those labs all day long and we can make all those changes, but if you don't create that, nervous system safety, emotional safety,
Yeah.
the truth of the body is it's made to heal. And if you give it the safety and support it needs, it will heal.
Yeah.
And so that is really, what we're all about is creating a level of safety and knowing. Like we want to know you. And
Love that.
We
we
want
want
you to
to
be seen. Yeah.
hmm.
Yes. I always say to people, and it's because maybe it's just because of my work and the path that I'm going in life, like to be seen is probably it's one of the like smallest I don't thing you can do for somebody, but it has one of the most profound impact on
Yes.
another human being to truly see them like
Yes.
as they are and also love them as they are. And I love that, you guys are kind of I love that, Kara, you brought up nervous system health and emotional regulation. And you're right. I brought this up I'll just say it again. And maybe I'll get some, I don't know, cred, but everybody, the body keeps the score. Like, so whatever yes, like, your panels and everything, and you health wise, you have to be okay. But your nervous system will tell you before your brain what you need to do
Yeah.
because your
Yeah.
Well,
brain
and
will play tricks on you.
yeah,
Mhm.
and we kind of already said this. I mean, we can do everything from a physiological standpoint, but if you don't learn to calm your nervous system, if you don't learn to just become come to a place of peace,
Yeah.
all that we did is just going to unravel and go back to what it's familiar with
Mhm.
because you have not changed any patterning.
Mhm.
So,
And then, like, let's take it another step, ladies, because it's like we create that safety and that love and that acceptance. And then we're having some healing and we're starting to feel better and we're finding that resonance. And then we go from constricted, right? We create the safety and, oh, things kind of start opening a little bit. And then where can we go? Expansion. And in that expansion, guess what we get to do? We get to play because we
Yeah.
don't feel this need to be tight. We don't feel
yes,
this need to
controlled.
control everything. We feel like, oh, well, what do I actually want to do here? I just, like approaching it with like a curiosity of like, do I like this? Do I not? Like, well, let me give it a little try and see how it feels. That is the feminine. The feminine's like,
Mhm.
let me see how this feels. Like, oh, maybe not that way. Let's
Yeah,
try
yeah,
this way a
yeah.
little bit. Like, that's the fun of, when we can take you from that contracted place, and again, this is in the physical body, you're going to feel this as dis-ease. You're going to feel this as dysfunction, unhealth. You don't feel good.
Dysregulation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, but the opposite of the constriction, it's not that we provide expansion, we provide safety
Yes.
and
Safety through
Then
expansion.
allows.
acceptance. So
Yes.
then the
Yes.
body can, and then all the physical things, Brittany, you should talk a little bit about some
Yeah,
of the physical
definitely. Yeah.
stuff that you do with people because it's really
Yeah.
magic and you know,
Yeah. I always see it like, I mean, it's just a giant puzzle to me. And
Mm-hmm.
I like putting all the pieces together and, you kind of have to start basic, just with labs.
Yeah.
I do a lot more than just the basic labs you're going to get at your normal practitioners, but it becomes this puzzle of, okay, this is off. And now why is this off? And how does this connect to these values over here? And just this it's all interwoven.
mhm,
So whether you're looking at nutritional imbalances or underlying chronic infections that are appearing to be, normal, everything's appearing to be normal. Or, you know, maybe it's showing that we do have some gut sensitivity or parasites or, um, oh gosh, um, thyroid and iron are always big. They're not flagging on anything. And the number of times that I see a normal thyroid panel, it's very small.
Oh.
Uh, because, from a traditional practitioner standpoint, they're only looking at a fraction
Mm,
of what we need to be looking at. So people are feeling exhausted and worn out and slow and sluggish, and their metabolism is off. And
mhm,
like,
Mhm.
they're just not getting the whole picture. And then we can dive in even deeper, looking at the gut microbiome and what is going on inside of there, what type of imbalances, overgrowth, different infections. Again, do we have parasites that are coming into play? I mean, FYI, everybody has parasites to some extent, whether the environment is healthy enough to fight them off on your own, or it takes over like it did with me. Um, and we can go further with hormones, looking at how the body is breaking down your hormones. Are they going down the appropriate pathways, or are they going down pathways that are contributing to, heavy periods and mood swings and fibroids and, um, as we approach perimenopause and menopause, hot flashes and
mm,
low libido, what is that all looking like? And it's like peeling back layers of an onion. Just take one
Mhm.
at a time, and you start working on a plan to address those concerns, um, and
Yeah, and what I would
the
add,
lifestyle.
just to shine a light on you, like, because Brittany's talking about all these like logistical things that she's looking at. It's like I would describe her as the greatest investigator that you're ever going to want on your health. Like, if you needed to hire a PI to figure out what's going on in that body, it's like Brittany is your
I
girl.
love
And,
that.
it's like, first of all, I believe you. I
Mm,
believe you. What you're experiencing is real. And that in and of itself, to have an advocate.
To be seen.
That's what I
yes.
mean. It goes
Yeah.
back around to that, and that physical, like, even if your labs, well, everything's normal. Brittany's like, I believe you.
Mm,
I believe you. Even though the lab says it's normal. Okay, and now let's dig. Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's investigate. I'd really like to know what this number is. Whatever. She is this mecca
Mm,
of knowledge and wisdom. One thing that's really cool about the way we work together is before I really focused in on life coaching and spiritual mentorship, I was working more in a functional medicine, although
yes.
using herbs and homeopathics. But I know the body, not only through my own
Yes.
experience, but as a coach. And then on the flip
Mhm.
side, Brittany has done a ton of spiritual and emotional healing. And so I think it's
Yeah.
fun the way that we can both support our women in all the ways.
the
Like,
Mhm.
I am a person
Yes.
like you feeling this way, that way. Like, my friends call me and say, like, what would you, like, if you were shooting in the dark, what would you suggest,
Mhm.
And I mean, I am definitely a person that can give some ideas for, well, you might look at this or you might try this. But the other thing I do is text Brittany and say, well, hey, what
Yeah.
would you say if my niece is
Yeah.
this and that? And like, we're gonna collaborate our brains together. And
Yes.
that's just kind of fun to, again, not be solo, to have a
No.
collaboration.
Mhm.
It just makes it a
Yeah,
different
we're both
experience.
experts in our own area, but there's so much
So much overlap.
overlap that it's like it's not like any other relationship that I have seen in this health space. So it's kind
Yeah.
of
No,
cool.
I think that's beautiful because, and Brittany, I know I shared with you when I first talked to you, I am such like, I'm such a mental health advocate because my mental health has probably been the most thing I focused on my whole life. And recently I had something physical happen to me, but this whole
Mhm.
time I thought it was my mental health. I was like, oh yeah, like, because I'm like, I have anxiety, like I've suffered from bouts of depression, and I'm like, oh, it's definitely my mental health. But there was actually something physically going on with me
Mhm.
that was, and for the first, it was like such an aha moment for me because I always lead with my brain, and as I'm meeting more people in like your space, one woman share, she was on my podcast, and she's like, Danielle, she's like 90% of your serotonin is made in your gut, and I'm
Mhm.
like, and like I was like, oh my God, like so like it's not made in your brain. Like, everybody thinks like, oh, like, the whole pharmaceutical industry is like, your brain, chemical imbalances. No, like, no, your gut is what, and it's just, it's
Yeah.
opening up my eyes
Yeah,
to,
the number of cases that I have worked on where women have had anxiety, whether minor or more severe, and we work on their foundation, their gut, and they're like, "Oh my
they're like,
gosh,
the how they
I'm
feel
not
is,
anxious anymore."
Yeah.
that's
Like,
amazing.
Mental health is brain health. And having
yes.
had a brain injury, what I know is the brain is an organ that needs to be taken care of physically.
It does.
Mental health is brain health. Mental health is gut health.
Mm-hmm.
There's a mental component, there's a psychological component to our existence. We need emotional support. We need to look at that programming culturally, family programming. Like, I mean, that's what I do. That's what I love. That's my, playground.
Yeah.
But when we talk about mental health as a society and we separate it from the actual physical components that create it, it is a tragedy because in reality, depression and anxiety are absolutely, brain health, gut health, like, or thyroid, adrenals, like
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
nervous system
Hormones,
shut down.
hormones.
Like
Simple
It's the
magnesium
physical things.
deficiencies.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
all those things.
Well, I mean,
So,
I shared with Brittany that when I had my like little health, it was my electrolytes, it was my
mm,
potassium. I
oh,
like, I've never like my potassium was like dangerously low, like to the point
mm,
the doctor was like, if you didn't come in, you could have went into cardiac arrest. And this whole time, I'm working with my nurse practitioner because I am medicated. I'm whatever works for everybody. But like
yeah.
for my, I went on a new mental health medication, changing dosages, and here all it is was electrolytes.
I
Like,
mean, it's a
it's like
complex
that's what it
system.
was. It was
Yeah.
electrolytes. And I was like, oh my God, it was like an aha moment because I said, I'm very cerebral, always lead with the brain because I'm like, that's just the world I live in. But it really, really taught me the biggest lesson. I was like, the mind body connection is a relationship that goes both ways,
Yes,
Well,
it
and
you
I don't
does.
know?
think you can just chalk it up to one thing being
No.
wrong. I mean,
Mhm.
there can be multiple factors going on. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
if you are not feeling well, I mean, whether you're prescribed uh, an antidepressant or you're taking some sort of herb, if you're not seeing improvements, that's a key to look deeper. Keep
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
exploring. Don't just try a different medication necessarily. Dig a little deeper and see
Yeah.
what could be going on.
Yeah, I mean, that's our whole premise. Like,
Mhm.
we have worked so hard in our own lives to be so present, to be alive and vibrant, to feel like, it's a new day. What are we going to do with this day? Like, both of us have worked so hard to do the healing physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically,
Yeah.
all the ways,
Yes.
spiritually, in order to be like, I love my life. I am alive to life. And that's the kind of space that we give women. In the vital clarity experience, our desire is for women to feel so lit up by their own true expression because it feels like,
Yes.
yes, this is who I am. And I have this space in which to really come home to myself, to
Mhm.
the beauty of my body. And that part of that is the expression of health, but part of it is also like, the beauty of your body, whatever your body looks like. Let's be in love with who
Yes.
you are. And
Self-love.
yes, feel alive. And
Mhm.
that's really what we
Yeah,
do
that's the
in the
point,
vital
right?
clarity experience. It
We're
is.
living this
It
life. It's like,
is.
and yeah, like as I mentioned, I work with my clients to like, it's that like I feel like everybody has that awakening moment. I mean, I've had many awakening moments of my life, but when you're in what I call, so that survival mode, you're just
Mhm.
functioning, you're on autopilot. I'm like, that is not what your life should feel like.
Mhm,
Like that is not living life. So
mhm.
like sometimes you need people like us to be like, "Hey, like there's another there." And as I said, I tell people all the time, I'm like, "What?" Like, yes, unfortunately, we're gonna go in the trenches a little bit. You know what I mean? It might not always feel
Sometimes we do. Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah,
might
for
not
sure.
always feel comfortable. You're gonna have to probably sit with some pain. We're gonna like before I do any work with my clients, like I start with them and I'm like, we're not moving forward until like, we unpack a little bit because you have to, you have to look in to move forward. And I think it's it and then we live in a society that we just want, like a magic pill. But I'm like, nope, everybody, it's a little
I
bit
mean,
of work.
everybody wants a quick fix.
Yeah.
And
But this
it's not
kind of
always a quick
healing
fix.
at what we're talking about, it's too complex and it has too many points that, as I said, spiritually, health wise, mental, soulful, body. There's too many, like, I guess, like,
There's so
pillars,
many
if you
layers.
will,
Yeah.
that it can't just be fixed with one. Because then honestly, I say this all the time. If I found that the one fix, I would be a bajillionaire. Like I wouldn't be talking with you guys right now. I would just be on my
On a beach
island.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'd be on my island, just like sitting on the beach. I'm like just having people wait on me every day. Because if somebody figured that out, but then also too, what is the purpose of life then? Because without empiricism and experience, are you really living life?
No, and the whole purpose is the journey, back to, you know,
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
purpose is the uncovering and the
Uncover. Yeah.
becoming and the
Mhm.
and the finding your truest truth and the aligning to that, not just knowing it, but acting in alignment with that truth, being in the world
Mm,
as she who is,
Yes.
I love that.
not with a mask, not feeling like you have to fulfill somebody's expectation or it's like to be you in the world is actually being a beacon of light. It's like this is the ripple of like each woman who can truly be in her truth and be in the world. That's the feminine, to be. It's not a doing thing.
Mm,
Yeah, we're gonna be doing business, but it's not gonna look like the hustle and grind and push. It's gonna look like essence. It's gonna look like flow. It's
mm.
gonna look like beep, 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 beep. It's
Mm.
gonna look a little different every day because women,
Yeah.
we're on a
Because of our
cycle. We
cycle.
look
We're on a
different every
cycle.
day.
Yes.
Like it's not gonna look like an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and then have a little downtime on that is on a 24-hour masculine cycle, which is
Yeah, it's
beautiful
actually
for
funny you
men.
mentioned that. I just found that out and I forget where I was reading it that the 9 to 5 was based off of a man's cycle. Like
Yes.
that's how they're wired.
24-hour
Yeah.
cycles. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yes.
everything
And
is
we're
like
third, forgive me, you would know, Kara, probably what, 28 days or 30 days cycle?
28
28
is.
28,
days.
28, yeah.
But I mean, then, and even that varies per
Yeah.
woman. I'm more of a
Mhm.
26-dayer myself, you know, and it's,
Anyway, yeah.
yeah,
No,
well,
I'm
and
actually gonna, yeah, no, go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I mean, but so much of our world is based off of like even until the late 1990s, they didn't even start including any women in medical research because they were so variable based on their cycles. So they were like, let's not deal with that. Let's just do research based on men. And I mean, great for the men. So
Yeah,
the
good for you
statistics
guys.
are very good if you're a man. But if you're a woman and you're like, that's the whole like, you need an investigator
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
if you really want health, you need someone who's going to look at all those pieces in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna wrap it. We're gonna be back with Brittany and Kara because we have a lot more to talk about, but just wanted to take a little break. This is part one of the podcast with them, so stay tuned for part two.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.